Welcome to another video from Gweilo 60. I've been called everything under the sun. Communist sympathizer, shill for the CCP, all these other things that I won't get into. I do see the good and the bad in China. I promote the good more than I promote the bad, but you see, I do see the old people digging in the garbage for recyclables. I do see the despair in the eyes of people that walk on the street that are homeless. I see the bad in China, just like I see the good in China. I promote the good because that's what makes me happy, and I think that's what makes my viewers happy, and that's what my channel's about. It's not about the hardship, but today we're going to start talking about some of the bad things about China. And as I say, nothing's perfect, no country's perfect, and China's no different than any other country. So here it goes. When the Chinese government wants to put together a project, whether it be a subway or a freeway or a high-speed train, if there's a tree or a village in your way, that tree's gone, that village is gone, and that's just the way it is. A lot of the Chinese people don't like that because a lot of them are farmers and this is their livelihood. But what's better for the majority of the people is what the Chinese government looks at. And if a village has to go or a tree has to go, a river has to be diverted, a whole area of China, like the Three Gorges Dam, has to be flooded so that power can be made through hydroelectric dams and such. They're going to do that. They're not going to worry about the little village. They're not going to worry about what the people say. They're just going to do that. In the West, well, we have processes. People care about that tree. People don't want their land flooded out. In China, if that, as I said before, if that church is on a piece of property that can be used for a high-rise and house a whole bunch of people, that church is gone, and that's just the way China is. So whether that's good or bad, I don't know. Some of it's good and some of it's bad. That's just the way it is. China doesn't really care about what the rest of the world thinks. Well, mostly. When you've got Uyghurs that are Muslims in the northwestern part of the country, they see what's going on in Britain. They see what goes on in Australia. They see that the Sharia law, the ISIS fighters coming and going from different countries, they want no part of that. What do? Re-education camps. You got it. You know what? It might not be a bad idea for the Chinese. I don't think the West is up to doing something like that. But in China, they look at it and they look at what's going on in the rest of the world and they just say, no, that's not going to happen here. Sharia law? I don't think so. Don't get me down. I'm not down on Muslims. My doctor in Prince Albert was a Muslim guy. I liked him very much. He kept his religion to himself, just like most people keep their religion to themselves. But he was a friend of mine. I trusted him. And I really didn't give a damn what religion he was, because he was a good guy. But when you see these no-go zones in Britain, even for the police, because of the radical shit that was brought over from different countries, like really, if you had the choice as a Western country to deal with it like China is dealing with it, would you? Would you consider it? The Chinese government says, no, we're not going to deal with this in a nice way. We're going to nip this in the bud, and this is just the way it goes. So yeah, there are minorities in China that actually get shit on, and but they bring it on themselves. Oh, and I know I'm going to take shit and abuse for this video. It's just one of those things, but you know what? A vlog is what people think. What people, like my vlog is what I think. My vlog is my life, what I do, how I do it, where I go, what I eat, what I drink. Is that brandy back there? Of course it is. You know, So if I look at things and say, well, this is the way I look at it, I'm not going to lie to you guys. I'm going to tell you exactly what I think. And communist sympathizer, I don't even understand the word communism anymore, because I don't think there's any communist states out there. Maybe Cuba. No, they're a tourist trap. Russia? No, they're market economy. They sell everything on the international. China? No. Vietnam? No. Manufacturing and everything. So what is communism? Everybody gets paid the same. Everybody does doesn't matter what job they have. Everything is shared equally among everybody, like a commune in the 60s and 70s. Yeah, well, that old ideology has been gone for decades, even in a place like China. This is a market economy, so communist sympathizer? I think not. Market economy sympathizer? Sure, why not? Do I believe in all of the things that China does or their policies? No, no. Tibet is one of those things. I think they should be left be on their mountaintop and just do whatever they want. There's really no benefit for the Chinese government to be looking at a place like that, because you're not going to be making a bunch of money off of it. You're not going to benefit much from it. Sure, they say Tibet is one of those places that was Chinese owned and is part of China, and that's just it. They're trying to reunify China to its full extent of what it was a number of years ago. Well, that might work and that might not work. I don't believe that the whole South China Sea is the property of China. I believe in 200-mile limits off coasts of like the Philippines, Malaysia, Vietnam, things like that. But what I believe really doesn't make much difference in the politics of China, because I'm just one Gweilo sitting here making videos, and that's just the way it is. Does China own Taiwan? Yeah, the People's Republic of China won the war in '49, and the ROC is the remnants of the army that lost. So yes, anything that they occupy is basically the People's Republic of China's property, just because the ROC lost the war, guys. And that's just the way war is. Whether you like it or not, that's one of the things that I do agree with. I'm on the Chinese side on that one. Hong Kong, yeah, that's Chinese too. Special Autonomous Region. And the people in Hong Kong that are creating such a stink are probably going to get theirs sooner or later. You know, they're talking about making masks illegal in Hong Kong now, so they can actually see face recognition and all that other stuff. Oh yeah, you won't see a lot of these guys out on the street if they can't cover their face. Why? Because they're criminals. Somebody posted a video of a Chinese guy getting beaten up by masked Hong Kong people here yesterday. I think I put it. It was caught by my censorship thing, just because it had a link to another video, and I check all my links, or all the links that come onto my channel. And it was this Chinese guy. He didn't raise a finger against anybody else, but he was getting his ass kicked by a bunch of these Hong Kong demonstrators. Peaceful? I don't think so. So yeah, I'm on Chinese side on the Hong Kong thing too. Seeing China as it is and sugarcoating China, yeah, there's sometimes where Gweilo does sugarcoat China, and that's because I'm feeling good that day. Probably it's got a lot to do with the brandy or the $11 Korean barbecue. I don't have any friends today. My wife left me, and I'm off to the Korean barbecue all by myself. All by myself. What do you mean? There's 12 friends over there if there's 12 beers in that fridge. Yes. But you see, the thing is that I see the good and the bad in China, just like I see the good and bad in Canada and the United States and stuff. You know, there's good and bad in every community, every country, and China has a long way to go You know, you've got the pollution, you've got the poverty in the rural areas, you've got the poverty in the cities too, where there's a lot of people. Like every morning I come out at 7:30, 8 o'clock in the morning, and there's this hunched over old guy digging through the garbage to get the plastic and the cardboard and, you know, the plastic bottles and stuff, so he can go sell it. Whether he's got money in his pocket or not, I don't know. He doesn't look like he does. But then again, there used to be an old lady on Hojilu that she would beg for money. And one day we met her family that was coming to get her off the street. And they said, oh no, she's got a nice place to live. She's got everything she wants. She's got money in the bank. She just likes to go out on the street and beg because it's something to do. Well, you see a lot of that in China, but then you see a lot of the crazy people, the people with mental disorders walking around downtown naked. Guys, that's a dream. that's a nightmare I have, waking up in the middle of lots of people naked. Yes. Ooh, you know, but I've seen a number of people walking around the city naked. They have to be mentally screwed up to do that. So you see that too. There's no place for the mentally ill to go. So they sort of just get overlooked. People just ignore them. Yeah, China has its problems. But with everything bad, there's always good too. How fast things get built here. Nanning is growing in so many different ways, from the subways to the high-rises to the shopping malls to the airport. The airport has like quadrupled in size since I started coming here. We went out to the western part of Nanning and we couldn't believe the high-rises going up. So yeah, it creates employment. It builds infrastructure. It makes a city bigger, better. But as always, that's going to leave some people, some uneducated people, or people with problems, not very smart, or just they fall between the cracks. Whether they're old, they got left behind. They understand the old China, not the new China. There's so many different reasons why people get left behind in a society. And yeah, I see that too. And that's one of the things that bothers me when I drive down the street. But you see that in every society. And there's really not much one person or two people can do about it. It takes the government to stand up and say, hey, I'm going to be able to deal with this in time. Right now, they haven't got to that point yet, and I know it's going to be years before they get to that point, and there's always going to be people left behind. I do know one thing, actually I know more than one thing, but this one thing. Since I've been coming to China 16 plus years ago, things are getting better here. I don't see as many homeless people. I see that more of my friends have nicer places. I see that transportation, getting around, is easier. I see life easier. I see less people per square kilometer. The pollution isn't as bad. The people walk around Nanning City and most of them have a smile on their face. I don't know what they're thinking. Maybe they're drinking brandy or Peugeot or a beer, whatever. But you know what? I see things getting better every year that I come back. And because Wei Fong and me were in Canada for the last 18 months before we just got back here, and I didn't see China. China had a chance to change while I was gone. And when I came back, we noticed that when you're dealing with the police, they're more polite. Yeah, Chinese police being polite. I've walked into a Chinese police station before, and a policeman that I know, and we used to go out for dinner all the time and stuff like that, but come up behind him and said, hey, and he didn't know who I was. He turned around like he was going to give me shit until he knew who I was. That's the way they used to treat people. Now it's different. They're taught different. They're more kind to the local people here in China. all that said, though, China's getting more expensive. China is becoming one of those countries that it costs more. It costs, I'd say, 10-15% more than it did 2 years ago for breakfast. Wow, meat is damn near twice as much as it was a couple of years ago. Vegetables and fruit are about the same. So, you know, there's that to look at too, where is China developing into a good place or a bad place? Well, I came to China because I liked the way it was 16 years ago. I liked that everything was inexpensive. I liked that people were simple. And so I'm not saying simple as in being uneducated or stupid, but they have more of an Arizona laid back, we're not going to freeze, where's my beer attitude. And I sort of enjoy that, rather than, you know, that uptight, yuppie Canadian style thing where, oh, you can't do that, or I'm offended by that. See, you don't get that in China up until just lately. Now, all of these glass hearts, like the comment section of my videos, my God, I've never seen so many Chinese with glass hearts lately. It's just either that, or it's just I'm being picked on by I don't know. They got to be either Taiwanese or Hong Kong people. I guarantee you that, because they're not mainland Chinese. Chinese most Chinese don't have a glass heart. They have rolls off their back like water off a duck's back. That's what I like about China. It's one of those places where people don't get offended. People let things go. It's better that way. CCP Shill, come on now. And that's another video from Gweilo 60. If you like this video, as always, like, comment, subscribe, push that share button, and thanks for watching. Bye now. Oh, don't forget to hit the bell. You know the bell. All right, bye now.